You know, we can do a lot of stuff. Multi-talented.
Yeah.
You know how to film?
Yeah,
Thing? All right, cool. First tarot card reading. All right.
What's your name again?
Keith.
All right, Keith. So, you can have a question or it can be like a general reading if you want. Just general things can come up. But just tell me when you want me to stop shuffling.
Now, when you say like a question, how it's more of a general question?
Well,
Like
it's sort of
not
like the more specific the question, the more specific the answer. That's the way the cards tend to usually come up.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I'll take you up on that. All right.
All right.
Whatever. All right. I'll tell you when to stop. Okay. Stop.
All right.
There you go.
That's the deck. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the Knight of Wands, which represents a fire sign male. Which is you. So it's in the middle, which means that like things are like pretty balanced. Like you probably the situation that you're asking about, like things are kind of in their right place and everything's not as it should be. Like nothing is fucked.
Okay. Good. That's a good.
The Ace of Discs, Power, and the Sun. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe guess that you're sort of asking about like business or money.
Oh my god, wow.
And if you had a question, but that's just what I'm gonna say. The Ace of Discs, I'm gonna tell you what each one is. The Ace of Discs represents the beginning of financial fulfillment. It's a new beginning. It's a good luck card. It's like money's coming your way, basically. And like the beginning of a string of material successes. The Four of Discs is material power. So it's sort of about like, all right, probably this string of material successes is gonna lead to sort of the capital to really do something with that. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna give you a material foundation that like you can really work from, like kind of kick ass from, you know, power, right? And the Sun is kind of everything that's good. It's like truth, beauty, gains, riches, love, you know, fame, fortune, health, wealth, happiness, you know, like dancing under the sun, you know, like. So the way it works is you pick one of these, and I'll put 2 cards underneath each one.
Okay. Now.
Whichever one you want to look at it into more.
Okay. So I still have my question in my head, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
I'd be under the Sun because I don't know if you want to flip it or just pick the Sun.
Perfect at that.
No, I'm a fan of the beach.
So truce with a woman. Now, in this situation, there's probably a woman like that's keeping still, maybe like waiting for you to sort of extend an olive branch. Sort of be like, reach out your hand and be like, hey.
I don't know, can I ask questions? Or,
yeah, of course, of course.
Well, have I met that woman yet? Or is she in the future? She's in the world, obviously, somewhere.
I'm going to say that you've met this person. This is, and it could be that like it might not be something really dramatic, like you really hurt someone or anything like that, but it's more of like something. There's somebody who's sort of waiting for you to make everything okay, and once you do that, the sun will shine, you know what I mean? Like, and she's keeping still. The I Ching hexagram that corresponds to this, that's a Chinese system of divination that corresponds to the 4 cards, is the mountain, which represents like keeping still, like solidarity. It's someone who's dependable and who's just sort of like patiently waiting for.
It's funny you mentioned that. I like to climb mountains, so just a little humor. No worries. There you go. No worries. All right,
that's
cool.
good.
All right.
So,
pick another one?
Yeah. Swords and the Queen of Cups. That's another woman that's come up again. That doesn't necessarily, I mean, you know, but it's interesting that a woman has come up again. The Ace of Swords represents invoked force. It's about kind of forcing yourself to get up off your ass and do something. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like the Ace of Wands is like, you just do it. You know, like, you're an Aries, so it's pure fire. You know what that's all about. Like, the Ace of Swords is kind of like, you have to, like, get yourself going a little bit. But the situation is going to bring you power financially. It's going to involve a woman, and a very joyous woman, because the I Ching hexagram that corresponds to this is the water, which means joy. It's like double water, just joy. So a very happy woman.
You said double water?
Yeah, well,
Queen of Cups, double water?
Water of water, because the feminine is water, the male is fire, and you know, air is also masculine, and earth is also technically androgynous. They make it. That's how it's all set up. It's like four tarot. 4 suits, 4 courts. You know what I mean? So this might be the same woman, but I don't know. But you know what's interesting here is we have another ace. So I feel like this question might have to do with a new beginning or setting out on something new. It could be starting over, but there's going to be a sense of freshness about it, for sure, even if it is something old. Another woman.
What are you thinking all the time?
And you know what? These might be different women. I think they are. At any rate, this is sort of the beginning of a string of financial successes, right? This is a woman who is sort of like Miss Popular, like Belle of the Ball, like eye-catching, you know, like
the May Ball. Just kidding.
And the I Ching hexagram that corresponds to this is following, which means in order to rule, one must first serve. But there's also, like, in this sort of story that goes along with that hexagram, it can mean sort of romance, like, that there is, in this story there's a romance, but really the story itself is about putting someone else's needs before your own in order to really establish power.
Almost like selflessness.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, sort of altruism, exactly. And the Knight of Cups is kind of that guy. I mean, there he is holding out his cup for someone else, you know what I mean? And this is like a dreamer, kind of a visionary. So this person, this visionary, is going to, as long as he's willing to sort of maybe make sacrifices, then he'll really be able to begin this sort of string of successes that lead to real power. Now the way it works, usually if I put 2 cards underneath each one of these, it tends to get a little like convoluted. But if there's something that you feel like you really need to like really see, I'll be happy to look deeper into it. If there's something that you're just like,
is it possible to just like give me like a sentence or two what each stem we're looking at? Because I mean, you did 3 and you kind of went into a little bit depth about it. Just like a summarize in 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah. All right. This is the beginning of financial successes that involve a visionary male being willing to make sacrifices for, probably in a situation regarding a flashy woman. This is a situation that involves the beginning of real solid financial security and power. Involves you getting up off your ass with a woman that's very joyous. Could be the same woman, maybe not. This situation represents probably finally achieving all the joy that you've ever wanted that involves some sort of truce happening with a woman who is keeping still, who's probably waiting for you.
Let's do this one.
Okay. So that's the one you want to look at?
Yeah. Or wait, is it like?
I would look at this one.
Oh sure. Wait.
This will be about the woman, and that'll be about the truce that needs to be made.
Let's do the truce.
So a sense of peace,
Obviously.
and also transformation. That's what death is. Like, I'm guessing that maybe this situation now is a little bit chaotic with this person, but that once the situation really transforms, the peace will be restored, you know, and like the waters will still once again, you know. Shall we look at her too?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Change? Are you moving?
I was like, why is everyone standing like this? You say, what is
Are
it?
you moving? Moving house? Getting a new apartment?
In the future, I will.
Yeah, alright. You might move with that person. But it could also be that this card is kind of worry about financial situations. And it could worry about like having enough money to eat and like, you know, and it could mean that that just changes. Like that sense of feeling like, oh, I'm worried about money is just gone. And in fact, I would probably be inclined to say that. And, you know, these might be the same. But just all different aspects of the same person.
That's a possibility. Yeah. It's definitely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Do I tell you my question? Or?
You can do whatever you want. You don't
Okay.
have to
All right. So it's interesting. My question that I was thinking in my head was kind of like two questions. You know, it had to deal with, you know, who will I be marrying? Because I do want to have a family, and like, how many children will I have, and things around that side, that area. And it's interesting. You know, the queen, right, and the queen, you know, the female, right. Yeah, so it is brought up in that.
I think that might be this one. Maybe you have 2 kids.
2. Okay.
And the woman that you probably marry is someone that's already in your life. That the situation will transform.
Of course, you know.
These I see as being more business related.
I agree, because, you know, on this one you kind of talked about like financial things along that sort, and of course, you know, in a way, and what was this one again?
Well, that's the beginning of like a string of financial successes.
You know, so in a way, these 3 cards at the top, right, the top tier, it's really different sectors and different categories in life, right? So, you know, in the Under the Sun, I kind of see that as all being encompassing of whole life and, you know, really what life is. And then, of course, you know, you got the economy of things, right? You have to live. I have to create a shelter under my kid's roof. If you want, you can record this. I don't care. And then this one, the beginning. So, like,